This story is called The Blue Rose. There was once an emperor's daughter who came of age and was to be married. Now her father, the emperor, said to his daughter that she had the right to make a single demand of the man who had become her husband. The daughter thought for a while, and then she turned to her father and she said, "Father, the man who I marry must bring to me a blue rose." Well, when word of the princess's demand spread throughout the kingdom, many who might have tried to win her hand were dissuaded, for whoever heard of such a thing as a blue rose? But there were men who were determined. There was one man. He went to a florist and had him paint the petals of a rose with blue paint. And so the man presented this flower to the princess, but a single drop of blue paint dropped from the petals onto the palm of her hand. And the princess looked at it, and she looked at him, and she said, "This is not a blue rose. I will not marry you." A second man was a merchant, and he told all of his servants that if one of them did not bring to him the blue flower, then he would throw them out onto the street. Well, his servants, they all panicked until one of them had a bright idea. He went down into the village. He found a jeweler, and he had the jeweler carve a sapphire into the shape of a blue rose. The merchant presented this to the princess. She took it, she looked at the rose, she looked at him, and she said, "I can see that your heart is as cold as the stone that this rose is carved from. This is not a blue rose, and I will not marry you." A third man went to a wizard, and the wizard made for him a special contraption. It was a box that was full of mirrors. But if you looked in through the hole, you could see the perfect illusion of a blue rose. Now the man presented this box to the princess, but she reached in and she tried to pick up the flower, but her fingers just passed straight through it. She said, "I will not marry a man who deals in illusions and deception. This is not a blue rose, and I will not marry you." Well, after that man was dismissed, the princess retreated to the royal gardens, and she sat on a bench there and she waited for the gardener's son to appear. They had known each other since they were children, and as they sat and as they talked into the long evening, the princess admitted to him that there was no one that she would really rather marry other than him. The gardener's son heard her words, and he thought for a while, and then he turned to her and he said, "In the morning, I will bring you the blue rose." Well, the princess, she went to bed, and in the morning, the gardener's son marched into the palace, holding out before him a white rose, and he presented it to the princess. Now, all the men and women of the court, they looked and they whispered to each other. Surely everybody could see that this was a white and not a blue rose. But the princess took the rose, she held it up, and she declared, "This is a blue rose." And the emperor, he agreed. He said, "If my daughter sees a blue rose, then a blue rose it is." And the princess and the gardener's son were married, and I think that they lived happily ever after.